We're live, gents. I'm gonna actually take this.
Here I am.
Here.
Hey Adam, what's up?
Hey, bro. How's it going? Sorry, I look over here because I've got my computer screen over there, so I look over there to see you talking to me, but you're there but you're over there. Come on. Hi, puppy. Come here.
Hey, I'm good.
Come here.
Okay, guys. I think we're on.
Yeah, I see. It's up.
Give us a few minutes. Let us know if you can hear us okay and you can see us okay. We have several people on the call tonight. Let me get a screen going, guys, so I can put myself on mute for a second. There we go. Today, very interesting. Let me just scroll through to see who we have on. Just the usual crew. Chris, we see Dave Wilson, we see Jim Mosey, we see King Cyrus, Kenny Black, and that's off script, and that's Mosey. Someone else. You know, we got Bill, we got the Jim, Ash. Everybody's checking in. Yeah.
I'm just making a quick announcement in the community server.
Yeah. Okay. So we're live now, guys. 10-4 on sound. So we apologize for coming on a little bit late. We have a pretty big group in tonight. There's Ice Lord is in the house. Oh yeah. There's Deborah. How are you, Fiores? Tonight we got a pretty good show for you. I'm calling it a show, but yeah, it's the update, LPC LGS update. We're going to talk about the GitHub repo. We're going to talk about software updates that we will be making, in addition to like the websites for Exchange, and also for the reveal of the new website. So now we're going to get a new, we're going to get a preview of the new LPC website tonight. And also an announcement as well about the our new 100 partners LPC Venezuela. So I'm really excited about where we're going, where we are. I've got to get through a couple humps, but that's okay. You guys, you might see a little a QR code if I'm being able to point in the right way, and maybe over here. So in case now we have a QR code that we're starting to build. So in the interim, while we do updates to the GitHub repositories, we'll be able to support a variety of initiatives that we have going. So let me do this. Now that we're here, there's an echo. Maybe perhaps turn off your speaker.
Yeah, if anyone has
I already have my YouTube paused. Let me see. Maybe I need to pause on.
I have it muted, so I don't think it's me.
Yeah, so I think everyone, if you're on the live stream and the Zoom at the same time, guys, if we could hit like mute. I've hit mute on my side, but maybe I should turn down my speaker just a tad bit. I don't want to go too low.
Sorry guys, I'm just adjusting or checking my video and audio settings to make sure it's not me. Okay. So I think we're good.
Okay. What about now?
Perfect. I think it's good. Yep.
All right, technical difficulties, folks. Sorry about that. All right, you guys let us know if we're good now. All right. I think that's what people are saying.
Yeah. So if we are, okay. Yay. Let's do this. I'm going to share my screen, and then just go through some of the basic stats, and then we'll immediately jump into the issue on the GitHub repositories. Let's do share.
Hold up. There we go.
So now here we are, and where we are for the market, there's been a pretty big upswing today, which I can appreciate. Just quick LPC, roughly 20 cents, market cap 1.1 billion. I think we still at 35, a little over 3,500 master nodes. Jumping over to LGS, same thing, maybe a 300 LGS here. Quick, over a third of a million in terms of its market cap, 15K in volume. This is very, very brief and short, guys, because I want to get the crux of the issue. LPC, once again, 3,500 master nodes. It has this a 1.3, and then LGS as well. And this is short and straight to the point, guys. Over 1,500 master nodes where we are, about a little over a third of a million in terms of its overall market cap. That's market still trending down for the most part, but I don't want to let that get in the way in terms of the things that we're doing. We'll continue to progress. I think we had a lot of questions and a lot of heat from the last webinar, and I'm willing to take it. And we are in a position where we have lots of calls about what really there calls for asking Vlad to be able to give up the repository because of the issues of some recognize that he's working on several projects outside of LPC. So it was the case that the community asked, say, hey, have him give the keys to the repository. I'm urging individuals to make those calls out, to review the code that I pushed to GitHub, and to subsequently make the update. The update hadn't been made, so what happened is on the request of the community. So this was something that I was able to do. I reached out to Vlad and talked about the things that you expressed to me during the last webinar about his level of participation, support for LPC LGS, considering like LMR and other projects that he's involved. And as a result, he gave up the control of the repositories, both LPC and LGS. So now what we have done, we have taken possession of the usernames and passcodes for the repository. It's now I'll serve as the point of contact for managing the repositories. I'll begin to add some more developers onto the repo. Because I'll tell you now, I can't do all of the management. So I can do some while we get things in place, but I cannot do the 100% management. If I took on the management role of the repository, it will be the case. You're not going to see me on webinars. You're not going to see me interact with the community as much, but I want to be as effective as possible where I think I can like help the community. Again, I'm not in a position to I'm not necessarily in a position to manage the repository full time. So with that being said, we extended out, you asked for it, we got it. So now it's the case that we have the repository, soon we'll be able to make the updates to both LPC, LGS, receive no pay at all from LPC or LGS. So we had a very small pre-mine, as I mentioned that earlier. So right now we're depending more on like what I already have in terms of what I do outside of the community in terms of my consulting in the space, doing work with Lumina. So now it's at the point where if we're going to really run this project, support the team, support the devs, support projects, as like I mentioned earlier, with the LPC Venezuela team as well, it's the case that we would need to make proper updates to adequately support that. I have some proposals, but I want to be able to flesh those out and present those to the team in a way that's very coherent. It makes sense. Everybody can see it. We can update it. You'll see it on the new website, and then we could have questions about it. And we're going to put it to a vote, particularly when we talk about updates to the software, where we'll be able to truly build out a treasury to support the organization. Teams like Dash, they do very well in terms of how they built out their treasury, and you don't need to reinvent the wheel if there's already a system in place. I know perhaps POTS has done some work in that as well, being able to make updates to their chain to be able to support the team that we have in place. So that's where we are. You want to get an update. Update to the repositories, adding members of the LPC community who can contribute, be a part of code reviews, help to review code, test code, push code into production and also create the various packages for Mac, Linux, Windows distribution. And I think we should be able to be in a very good position moving forward. So I'll take a quick pause there because I don't see any questions here in the chat because my window is like kind of small here. But let's see. Maybe Adam or
Yeah, I've been monitoring the chat here on my cell phone. Um, I it looks like there's a little bit of a misunderstanding of a comment of mine. I just commented. You said that you didn't receive any LPC from the pre-mine and whatnot. I was just making a clarifying remark that the only LPC that you own is the LPC that you bought personally and invested in with your own money.
yes, some initial investments that I made within the community, building out my own master nodes, and members of the team are communicating what we're doing in the community. So it's at the point now, having that very small pre-mine initially, going to attending conferences, taking those flights, getting onto Cryptopia hadn't turned out in the most positive way for us at this point, but that consumed the vast majority of the funds that we had in building out the project. But we're in a position now, given that we have access to the full repository, able to make updates to the code. I'm going to put together a proposal. I'm not going to give like explicit details on what exactly I'm going to do because the thoughts are still forming in terms of the allocation and breakdown, in terms of having a treasury. And the treasury, and I have several thoughts. I can just blurt off some thoughts, and none of this is like final or anything because it has to definitely go through the process of the team. We vet it internally, goes through council, and we present it to the community, and then we'll put it to a vote. But just some of my thoughts is just it would be great. Like,
just go through them slowly, Damon, because you want to make sure that people understand what you're presenting.
Sure. Yeah, and once again, none of this is final, but it's at the point where we should have, without a doubt, a treasury. The treasury should be used for several things. One, being able to maintain the team, like for instance, some of the moderators that we have within the various communities. Also, being able to support various projects. As I mentioned earlier, we'll talk about one tonight in like the 100 Partners program with LPC Venezuela. At the same time, being able to do marketing as well. I'd love, and for me, this is kind of like my pie in the sky idea, but you know, the community may come like, it's kind of, dude, that sucks. But I would love to be in a position where we have community masternodes, but community masternodes and community ATMs. So it's at the point say, depending on how fast the rewards pay out, we take a percentage of the rewards, we buy ATMs and we strategically place them in geographic locations across the world. So now, you know, there's only one sitting in the office now, but as we begin to have a treasury, and with that treasury, make an allocation to purchase an ATM with the LPC masternode on it, then the funds that are generated in terms of the revenue, and the generated revenue can be anywhere between 1232, but the information I've gotten from CoinLogic is the revenue that they've been able to consistently see on the ATMs is between $32,000 and $35,000 annually. That's US dollars. So just imagine a percentage of those funds coming from the ATM comes back to purchase more of LPC to either buy more masternode ATMs or fund different projects. And
right.
It's the point where we can accelerate the generation of revenue, get to a position where we're cash flow positive. Well, first generating revenue. Then there's a position of doing the actual accounting that will be clear, transparent on the chain, and at the same time seeing revenue that's generated from the ATMs come back into the community to either purchase more masternodes, purchase, like going to conferences, sponsoring trips, or just making investments in the community altogether. That would be ideal for me, but it may be something that's out of the scope of possibilities for where we are as a community. But I'm just opening the options up, and I will be sharing those with the council. And these are my thoughts, but feel free if you have thoughts as well. Let the community know, talk to us, and we'd like to be able to make those updates, push it out on the for the respective chains, both LGS, LPC, and then be able to take it from there. And I'm totally open to your feedback and your comments, and I think we have to be that way moving forward. So let me do a quick pause there to see where we are on questions.
All right, so we've got a few, Damon. I just want to make a quick comment that I love that idea. If we get some rewards set up so that we can buy an ATM and then have a portion of the ATM rewards and fees go into buying more of the ATMs and whatnot, like that's just going to compound exponentially. So for our first question is from Oscript. Has a cost analysis been done on what LPC needs to fund all of our costs? And a quick excuse me, a quick comment on that is I don't think we know what our costs are. Well, what LPC's costs are.
Yeah, and just a quick note on what I do know, as I've started had some conversations with members of the team and understanding what would it take in order for you to manage or participate in the community. I've gotten some of those numbers already, but it's not at the point where everything is like crystal clear and I say, okay, here's where we are in terms of our overhead, our human capital costs, and then like say for instance, the rent on the facility at 3001 North Dallas Parkway in Dallas, that's all being footed by me. So it's the point where it's the case that we would need to come up with all of the human capital management costs, our infrastructure costs, basic overhead, then make the projections in terms of at what point will we turn cash flow positive. First, we just need to be in a position where we're able to generate revenue. And then each month, just look at it in terms of our unit economics, in terms of our marketing, our sales, and being able to deploy the national ATMs in various geographies across the world. And then as that revenue begins to come in, giving you guys a snapshot each and every month, or maybe it's every week, just letting you know where we are in terms of revenue generation, cash flow positive, being cash flow positive, and looking at our EBITDA. So it's something that we should definitely take into consideration moving forward. But I'm open to suggestions because we're in a community. It's the crypto winter, guys. So we got to get cozy. We got to get warm with each other. We may not like each other at the end of the summer.
Oh, come on, Damon. We love each other. This community is amazing. Look what we're doing. Look what we've done in 1 week, in the last few days. Come on.
In 2 days.
We love each other. Yeah, exactly.
Believe it or not, it's a great week in terms of seeing where we are in terms of the outcomes that we've gotten. Even though it's taken some emotional toll, but you guys have asked for it. We went out and we got for what we asked for. Now it's time to produce. We have no more excuses, notwithstanding still being in a crypto winter.
Right.
But just executing. But I think if we can get some participation from the community, like some of the ideas that we're going to begin to put on the table for software updates to actually build a treasury and have it to be able to maintain the team, make investments to acquire LPC master nodes. And these are community LPC master node ATMs and deploy them. So when that revenue comes in, it's revenue that's for the community. It's revenue that we're using to make either reinvestment, sponsoring conferences, getting our name out there. As I mentioned earlier, maybe it was 3 or 4 months ago, we were approached by an organization that was in a position to put us on like major news networks, major financial news networks. That individual has stayed in contact with us and it's been checking in every single month. Hey, we love what you guys are doing. Let us know when you're ready. Let us know where you are. We know it's been difficult. We've seen what the market has been doing, but every time I check in with you guys, man, you're always upbeat. You're always pushing, and he's staying in contact. So I do think we're in a position to do well.
Now, is that the guy from the Fox affiliate?
The Fox affiliate, Fox Business Network, yes, I think
Okay, yeah.
if that's out of the bag, it's out of the bag.
Well, no. So we figured out that there was, it was a specific new show where we didn't figure it out. We're there was a lot of research done in the community, I should say.
Sure.
And we came to a consensus on who we thought it was, but I can't remember the name of the show. So the pre-sale developer fund.
Absolutely zero.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, it was all spent on exchanges, right?
After that 12 Bitcoin purchase to, which I think was like 72, either 72 or 76,000. It was a case even well before that, we were not necessarily in a financial position to list on CryptoBit, even though that's something that you all wanted. But then we do, like I said, at this point, we're at this point we had some what we call community nodes that we had for the council, but that's like for the council, and it's at the point where I don't think that's really running anything where we could all like take a trip to, say, even Miami to go to a conference.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't be enough.
I hear blah blah blah. Tell me what you're talking about, Kareem.
I think they're trying to say that we're not focusing on the right topics. We're trying to answer questions though, folks. So if you don't want us answering questions, then stop asking them. Yeah. So if you want to read through and read Oscrip's other questions, it seems he's got a bunch of them.
Yeah, I see one that's in the screen now that says, okay, Exchange is also at the address, which is a private enterprise. DR, will you have to consider that when factoring the cost? And for me, it's something that I've been carrying that burden myself, being the entity that's helping to manage. I would love to be in a position where if the community helps support that, that's fine. But if it's not, and I'll say, hey, okay, this is the managing entity. This is not including the entity. But it makes sense having a physical address. And for instance, being able to get onto Exchange, you have to have a legal entity. At the same time, it's not the case where LPC can just go out on its own and just list on an exchange. There has to be some sovereign-based entity, like within the United States, corporation that's helping to guide some of the development. That is the case with Blockstream and Bitcoin. That's the case with the Ethereum Foundation. That's the same thing with IOHK, with Cardano.
All right, so I'm going to scroll up a little bit. He's also asking if this is now a community coin, which is an interesting question. And also, two questions in one. The rumor of why LGS was created, as far as funding getting LPC onto exchanges.
So it was created as a support project, and in the thoughts were going back to the original arguments that we had for the project, because we thought about what were the partners that we would have in place for supply chain and logistics for distributing ATMs around the world. So we thought about, okay, what would it cost to really get a partner in place, or do we have the capabilities of members in our community and in our network who could help us in logistics and supply chain? So with that in mind, we did have someone in the community or within our network who could help us in logistics and supply chain. And that was actually my former colleague at IBM, who's actually here. I think this is probably the first call that Colin has actually been here. So that was one of the rationales for being able to distribute ATMs across the world using a logistics and supply chain blockchain-based project, which was LGS, which we listed from the beginning was a support project for LPC, which helped us also to fund and list on this exchange. So it wasn't at the point where it was just something that we just did out of the blue.
Right. So it's not that LGS was done with any sort of ill intentions whatsoever. It was known. It's the only thing that anyone need be concerned about is anything outside of LPC and LGS. Can you still hear me, Doc?
Oh,
Okay.
I can hear you.
All right. There was just a moment of radio silence there. I want to make sure. Do, 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 do. Yeah. So, do you got something next on your agenda there?
That's what I have for the most part, guys. I'll get a schedule together and put everything about the updates, adding developers to the repository. And here's the thing, guys. Anybody can be added to the repository. Anyone can be added to review code, but at the same time, only a select few can push code into production. So it has to go through a review process before it goes through that. So
Right.
there's always that code review, that internal development and testing on your box, moving to a staging server, or in our case, moving on to the test net, which
Right.
is available, and then testing on testnet. And then after that review as well, then moving into production. So it has to be a release cycle on that.
Right, and I think you and I have had a few conversations, Damon, regarding how we might consider handling that. So, as far as everyone watching, that we'll come out with some ideas with the community in mind, and keep you all posted on the structure of things.
Sure, and that was the case with Bitcoin. When you think about it, it was an open repository. Individuals contributed to the repository. Satoshi Nakamoto had the keys. Then when I think there was, I can't remember the individual's name, when he said he was going to go speak to the CIA, Satoshi like, I'm out, bro, peace. He handed over the keys. So it was the case now. He handed over the repository, and it's just other individuals just manage the repository from that point.
Right.
And that's where we are. So if you want to consider Bitcoin like that, Bitcoin subsequently brought in a managing entity, and that was Blockstream, to do some of that research, development, and commercialization. But that's the case where we are now with the research and development commercialization with Exchange as well.
Right. So, a couple more questions that I've got before we move on. The community coin aspect. I don't know if there's a specific definition of what a community coin is, but would you consider it LPC one, or are we moving in that direction?
And I don't know what a community coin is. If you just consider where nobody's working, nobody's getting any type of payment or anything like that, but just being freely giving of their time and of their effort, which is kind of in a way how Bitcoin was, even though they're the same individuals who were developing code were also mining at the same time, collecting BTC. So
Right.
if there's an official definition that puts us in that realm, we may be considered that. But it's the case, we're not a centralized coin like Ripple and some other projects where they basically launch the coin within the entity itself. So as soon as the legal entity dies, the coin dies. That's not the case. Someone could come after us, say, for instance, some country said, okay, guys, no, we don't recognize you. We're going to send a letter to the United States, say, okay, shut this company down. We can close Exchange tomorrow and LPC will still live.
Right,
So
because it's running on the network, not on the company.
So I don't know if there's an official definition of
Right.
So of a community coin or not.
Would you say it's more accurate to say that this is an open source project?
It's been an open source project from the outset. Anybody
Right.
can fork it. Anybody can use it. As a quick answer on Mosey with PolisPay, we are we going to contact them? Actually, there was a person who pointed PolisPay out to me. I asked for the specific point of contact. I was given the link to come into the community of PolisPay, and I am in the community. But then I haven't had that person to reach out just yet. I don't know who that specific point of contact is, but I've been placed within the community. And I'm now, if you go look in the PolisPay community, I am represented in the community. So you just look up at Xanthic and just ask them to reach out, because I don't know who that specific point of contact is. But yes, and I'm not turning anything down.
To consider anything like PolisPay, just hit us up and get us connected with the right people.
You have something to say, Colin?
Yeah, are you guys able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I want to take a moment, as Damon mentioned a little while ago, this is, I think, the first call that I've visually been on. So to all of you guys in the YouTube channel, Hello, I'm Colin Thompson. I'm working on our global operations. I'm doing a lot to build networks and relationships with LPC, LGS, with different entities globally. If you guys have any questions, you can always find me on Discord. I think my handle is CCT. Very simple, very easy to understand. I have been on a lot of these calls, but as you guys know, I'm located here in Shanghai, China. Previously, the calls were about midnight, which is a little bit late, early for me. However, as these calls do progress at this time, I will be on more calls. So if you guys have questions as to what we're doing internationally, right, please reach out and let me know. Damon is really heading up all the nuts and bolts, right, all the technical stuff. But as far as trying to have some global, not, I wouldn't say partnerships, but learning how other cryptocurrencies are working globally, getting mentored by them, mentoring some younger projects, really helping us to develop relationships in this space. Any questions there, please reach out to me. I think again my handle is CCT in Discord, and you can always just shoot me an email as well. You can find my information in Discord. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I'm also the first time I've been on a call too, so I think it's pretty proper for me to introduce myself as well. I'm John, but most of you guys know me as Rock on Discord. I'm the official BA for Venezuela. And,
Not just Rock Lobster, and that's a story you're going to have to tell us.
Yeah, probably one day. And yeah, as of 2 days ago, I'm also the lead organizer in LPC Venezuela, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
In the future of this webinar. All right.
So, Colin, I wasn't trying to disclude you or you, John, from anything. I'm just trying to get things answered.
Right.
Yeah. So I just wanted to get that out. Repository, pushing out, adding names, adding community members on the website with Exchange as well. Given the movement that we had this week, I have made progress where you can view messages, you can create messages, send multiple amounts of currency to multiple individuals just using their email. But it's the case, I want to roll it out in the next 5 to 7 days. 5 to 7 days. Keep me accountable. The next webinar, you should see it. You definitely should see it out in terms of where it is now. So, and I think it's a great functionality. So, time, I'm switching over, and I'm going to shut my mouth and then pass it on over to.
No, I was saying set a reminder to remind you. I was telling the community, let's keep you accountable.
Yeah, and I want to shut my mouth too. So it's a lot of things depending on that. So I really want to push it out.
So I've got one more question. The ATMs and also the point of sale devices. If I had a contact that said, "Get me one now. I need to order it." I know who to get them in contact with. But is there any information that we can get out into people's hands regarding what they are, how they work, and how much they cost specifically?
Sure. Yes, and there were some members of the community just this week where I think a person from Sweden was asking about the pricing, some of the functionality, some of the specifications around the device. And I sent that out to him, and it's the base pricing, the base retail price, but then that price is, we have members in the community that if you show and prove that you supported the community either via a master node or as a confirmation node, you're able to get that discount as well. So it's the case. Point them to me. We can have that conversation. I can send, and I'll send it out to you, so you can actually send it out to. And I think all the BAs should have it. So I think
I'm actually looking through my email because I might actually have that.
Yeah, I'd like to add on that. Colin actually, while we were discussing the site a couple days ago, we had an idea that came about from not just us, but other BAs as well. On the site, we're going to have a media kit, section. I think that could probably go there as well. The whole ATM deal and stuff.
Yeah, so
that could go there.
You're setting up a media kit. Is there any chance you can have both English and Spanish? Some sort of a brochure or flyer for LPC and the ATM and POS setup? Because that would be
I think
really
we're also
useful.
to elaborate more on that, we're actually probably gonna translate the whole website as well. So
that would be awesome.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So that's great. Yeah. If anyone has any questions regarding how to set up the authentication for the message to prove masternode ownership that Damon was talking about, feel free to message me in Discord. If you want more information on the ATMs, I know one of our community members goes by the handle of Discord username, which is very unique. He has been in contact with CoinLogic as well and has some information.
Yes, and I think it definitely makes sense for like us, like the BAs, anyone on the core team, to be able to coordinate our purchases. And here's one of the things, because shipping is included. If we're making multiple purchases at once, then those shipping costs come down tremendously. So those are some things that we have to consider in making purchases. But I think if we could make orders at the same time and push them through, because I know we have some interest in, there's a guy in Canada, there's another person in California, in addition to a couple of people here in Dallas who are ready to make orders. Yes, and I would agree with being able to have our brand in some of that messaging material, that's important. But if we can coordinate our orders and push them through at once, and definitely if it's the case, the community decides, yes, let's have community masternode ATMs, then we make those purchases all at once, and then they come back, and we're able to get that the lower cost on those shipping from the manufacturing facilities.
Right.
I actually have a personal question on that. Do you know the costs for shipment to Venezuela, for example, or anyone that's handling that information?
Can we ship things to Venezuela yet?
Well, I'm asking because I probably have someone who could. So if there is a cost, I could probably, we could compare it there and see which one's better.
Yeah, we should probably take that offline though. But that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna
steal
this
out today, by the way.
I'm gonna steal the spotlight for a second, just because last week we talked about the initialization of the 100 partner program. Sorry, I'm having a hard time speaking for some reason. And I talked to you all about my company, WinTech, that I'm starting, WinTech LLC. I just want to let you all know that I had conversations with all the requisite people, and it's looking like I'll be able to be going full-time with WinTech by the start of next month. So
nice.
If you guys want to help me with that endeavor as far as supporting me and helping the community and my endeavors with my own software stuff that's supporting LPC, just let me know in the chat and whatnot. So hit me up. Things are progressing. And I've
already hit you up.
Yeah, so Damon, I'm not sure who you're pointing at because that was me.
Yeah, I was pointing at you.
Okay.
No, that's me.
On your screen, maybe.
Yeah, I think it is.
Oh, okay.
Wait. Are we the Brady Bunch? Okay, so who's next? Rock, you want to talk? John? Drum roll. Brrr, presenting.
Well, I would like the doctor to go through with it with me. If we're gonna talk about the site.
Yeah, we can. If you don't mind, do you want to go through, Colin? I'm totally open.
No, because I'd actually like for someone, like user experience,
Yeah, Damon, can you pull up the site? Is it live?
Is it live?
Yep. We're actually working on it a few hours ago, getting everything ready. So.
Yeah, sorry, we are organized, just not with webinars.
Yeah.
We're working on it. So it seems like every week we have a new thing that we're bringing into the webinars to cause more complexity in the setup, which is what you're seeing. So we will get to a point where we'll have everything ironed out in a perfect process so that it's just a smooth webinar.
All right.
So, and the URL, is it?
Bitcoin.io. Yep.
Okay.
Deborah, I'm not sure what you were laughing at, but I'm going to assume it was me, so thank you.
Now, before we begin with the check, I would like to give a thanks or credit to one of our BAs, which his name is Pavel. He worked on some of the illustrations. He did a very fine job, so round of applause to him.
hats
worked with our team.
Yeah, hats off to Paul. He did a fantastic job on the graphics design for the new logo. It's amazing. I love it.
Yep. All right. Well, as you can see here, this is the landing page. When we first began with this project, we wanted to give LPC, well, the original goal was to give it a redesign, a simple redesign, because in my opinion, I did not like the existing webpage. It didn't inspire investor confidence, among other things. So we wanted to give it a clean look. I mean, as you can see, it's pretty good for what we used to have. It's night and day if you compare them. At the moment, you can basically scroll down. There's info about LPC, that sort of stuff. We are still working on it. We should have the roadmap, for example, and the rest of the components of the website either live next week or, oh yeah, we're still working that out. But yeah, as you can see, it's looking pretty sharp. I'm also open to receive any suggestions or anything you would like to see. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so we got Chris saying that the mobile version is buggy. It's still a work in progress, folks. So
yeah, we were actually working on that like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a work in progress. They're making great strides in it, and already you can see. I'm pointing over here because that's where my screen is. You can already see that it just looks so much. It's clean,
Yeah, that's what we're going for. Clean, sharp look.
Yeah, so guys, let me jump in here for a moment.
Yes, sir.
To explain what we're trying to do. We're really looking at designing the website from the customer experience, right? From the customer viewpoint. We want the customer to be able to come here, right, and be able to do, I would say, to reach their needs very quickly. And we understand we have several different types of customers. We have what I would call our preferred golden customer. That's somebody who wants to understand how to procure LPC, right? And then more importantly, how to spend it. Well, procure, secure it, right? And how to spend it. We want to make sure that we have a website that allows them to do all those three things easily and seamlessly. We also want, though, to have a website that also speaks to our consumers, our owners, right? Our wallet owners, our Masternode owners, those folks who want to maybe not use it as a utility, but want to support our blockchain, right? We also want them to understand what is a Masternode, how do they build a Masternode, how do they secure the Masternode, and how do they support our ATMs, how do they support our business. So looking at this from those two perspectives, we want to make sure that we have all the information for those two user types available through this website. So, the guys have been doing a great job. You're going to see some additional iterations of the website. Of course, any questions, contact the BAs, contact myself. Now, what you're seeing here is driven, I'm going to say 99.9% by the BAs. So if you're in the YouTube group here, if you're in Discord, if you have not contributed, type a question in Discord. The question is, how can I help, right? We want you guys to not just be part of the team. We want to be active parts of the team. We're doing everything we can to bring the community in. So that's my call of action for the community, right? So any feedback on the website, please let us know. And again, hats off to the Venezuela team and all the VAs for getting us from talking about having a new updated website to actually having something that we can stand behind. And most importantly, something that our customers will find value in.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
Yep. We made great strides in these past few days, so thank you. This is great. I actually saw a question there. I think the map locations, okay, yeah. We actually had another map. We changed it today. So, I mean, I myself am not on that map. I should be, right? Among others, I think there's like 2 BAs that are still missing. So we're going to work on that. And the map is also going to include the locations of the top countries that host masternodes.
So like a heat map?
What?
Like a heat map?
Yeah. Yeah, we're still working on that, but that's going to be included as well. What's missing from the website would be the partnership section. We're going to give a small description on each partnership, and we're also going to have a small illustration there. It's going to be animated probably. It's going to have some, yeah, it's going to look good. Exchanges, more or less going to be the same thing. Maybe, reworked a little bit. And the team is also going to have a little bit of an improvement. We're still missing some folks there. And maybe a bigger description. I'm actually going to need the pictures of you guys, of the doctor and, well, I think there's one of Dwayne on the internet. I'm not sure, but I need some proper photos for those circles there.
Yeah, we'll get some headshots over. Yeah. Yeah, website looks amazing. It looks like we lost Colin for a moment. Oh, there he is. He's coming through the Great Wall, the Great Firewall.
Did I miss a question? Sorry, guys. I had to run to the restroom.
No, that's fine.
Thank you for your honesty, Hans Pitcher.
Hey, not a problem. I feel much better now, by the way.
Yeah, the other, we also have some of the internal pages ready. I think it wasn't uploaded though. It is ready, but it wasn't uploaded. At least the guide section. So we're gonna include a written guide and a video.
Yeah, and
props to Adam for the video.
Yeah, I'll be updating that too. So our thoughts.
Yeah, man, I was telling you to do that.
I know. You all know I've got a lot going on. So our intentions for the guide page is to have a written guide and a video guide, not only for setting up an LPC masternode on a VPS, but also to set it up on some of the more popular hosting sites like Gin Platform or SatC, right? So videos and write-ups for those with transcriptions probably for Spanish and English, I'd assume.
Yeah. We're also going to have a roadmap. It's going to have a pretty neat illustration. I think Powell's still working on it, but we should have that ready soon with the updated roadmap as well. And we're probably also gonna the white paper. You could actually open it. We're going to translate it and probably transfer it to a new
host,
a new format. Yeah, we already have the format ready.
Okay, great. And
yeah, I was just waiting on approval because I didn't know if you guys wanted to update anything on the white paper.
Yeah, we can talk about that. If it's
gonna be the same white paper, then I'll just transfer it to the new format.
Yeah,
it'll look very good.
We'll talk about that in the BA channel.
Right.
We'll get that ironed out for sure.
But yeah, I mean, if we're gonna have a new website we should have a new white paper design with the new logo and all that.
Yeah, an updated roadmap for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we will definitely have an updated roadmap that will not only cover where we've been and where we are right now, but also projections on where we want to be, all with updates. So you guys, take a look at everyone watching. Take a look at the website here. This is what you asked for. Like, we made this happen. This is the community that did this. This is how powerful a community can be in a project. Like, Damon didn't make this. Like, this is us. This is what we can do. So take ownership in this and know that we as the community, we have a lot of say in this. We have a lot of investment in this project.
Distributed control.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. So, John, do you have more to say about the website, or do you want to move into VZ LPC stuff?
I think Powell's here, so just in case you didn't get it, thank you for all the illustrations, all the work you did. All right.
Yeah, it's beautiful
so take
work.
Care. Yeah. Other than that, yeah, we're probably gonna have the site completed, ready by this week. So look forward to that.
Now,
move on, yeah?
as far as John, as far as your efforts in Venezuela with LPC and the donations that are coming in, do you want to touch on a few of the bulleted points on what you intend to do with that?
Well, we could actually to give more context, I guess we could, what are these donations for, right? So ever since I joined this community, actually joined this community due to a friend who had a pretty substantial investment. I always thought that I wanted to create an organization after obviously I invested into the project and I actually did my research and all that. I always had the idea of creating a sub-organization, or well, you could call it a glorified fan club, although it isn't that now, to promote it. And that's basically what I'm doing with this. So the objectives are, starting out, which is what I've seen that we've needed, is we want to provide a social media team. We want to provide possibly a developer as well. And that would more or less cover most of the budget starting out of the donations that we've been receiving for it. But on top of that, we're also trying to contact speakers and influencers and that kind of stuff to promote LPC here, as well as the educational side and the commercial side of things. I myself run a education company locally here, so we kind of have a little bit of experience on that. So we thought, as we've been saying so far, since the community is strong, I think everyone should, help out the way they can. If I can help the community by doing this, then why not, right?
Right. And just to touch on the developer side of that, John and I have talked a little bit about the donations and such, just because I want to make sure that the community's trust is maintained.
Right.
And the intention is to use those to run nodes and use the rewards of the nodes to fund their endeavors. And as far as the developers go, Damon, John, and I are talking about the possibility of using some of John's resources to help us with LPC.
Right. So how can I help out? Okay. So I'll just explain it very shortly. I've kind of already more or less given hints in the Discord, but as you may know, currently things in Venezuela aren't that great, but there is still a lot of talent in the country, and more importantly, low-cost talent. So what I can do is I can outsource the development work to, friends, coworkers, or whatever, people that I know that are really good developers, have very good talent, and that would lower costs, which is really what we need right now. We need it at the lowest cost possible, but also conserving a little bit of, quality. We can't just have anyone running the development here. Right, yeah, pretty high quality. And so yeah, basically that's what we're trying to do with that. We're just trying to outsource costs and maintain them low and have a good result with that.
Right. So
on top of that, I mean, we're a masternode coin. I'm not going to come in here every month and ask for funds. That's not efficient. So the other idea with the donations is to run on nodes, and just the whole organization will be based on that.
Right. So guys, understand that you're donating coins to this endeavor, and that is absolutely appreciated 1,000%. But those coins aren't disappearing. They're essentially being held in trust. So we're trying to do this as intelligently and as respectfully as we can.
Yeah, and in fact, I mean, my goal is as soon as possible be self-sufficient. I don't want to depend on the community to do anything. I want the organization to run itself, because I don't find it fair to be asking for funds every month, especially with you guys probably aren't aware, but recently there was a scandal here from Dash, the local chapter here. They had a small scandal that they were mismanaging funds, or they were requesting, amounts of money that didn't really correspond with the work they were using. So they were the work they were doing.
Can you say that again and just highlight it for me just a tad bit?
Yeah, because we're talking about one of our competitors in Venezuela. So if they're doing something shady, it's important for us not to take advantage of it, but to make sure
Learn
that
from it,
the
yeah.
the crypto space in general makes an example out of bad actors, so that it
Yeah, I
doesn't.
mean, I've always criticized them, not because I'm envious, jealous, or any of that. In fact, much before I even joined this project or anything else. But I've always criticized them because, I mean, that's why I'm here. You can do a lot of things with not a lot of money. So I never understood why, for example, they would be asking for 1,000, 2,000 Dash. And I'm talking about when Dash was worth a lot more than now. I mean, at one point that was probably $2 million. For what? They have apparently they have like 20 employees. I mean, they've been doing good things, but it doesn't warrant the amount of money they were asking for. You could do things a lot cheaper here for the same quality. You don't have to. I mean, they were spending like what 12K or something like that on employees. I mean, you're paying them what first world salaries on for each of them. And I'm not trying to sound
Oh no, we
but
absolutely understand.
I mean, you could pay them a decent salary too. I'm not saying you pay them like $10 a month or something crazy like that, but you know what I'm trying to say.
But I think the average salary is almost like 10 to 12 bucks a month.
Well, that's a minimum wage, which with that you can't really do a whole lot here. But well, not here. I'm not over there yet. Um, but yeah, I mean, you could pay them what 100, 200, 300 would be more reasonable. I mean, I
Sure.
think they were paying like 1,000 because if they had anywhere around from 12 to 25 employees, that's more or less what they were spending. So um, not only just that, they also had a lot of transactions that weren't documented. They weren't providing documents every month. The community, in fact, requested for them to be transparent, and they didn't reply for like 3 months. So
Hmm.
we kind of got. They actually had a program where the funding was from the community, so like the masternodes had to vote on it for them to get approved. And as far as I know, the recent proposal they did for 2,000 Dash wasn't approved. So because of this whole scandal. So
Right. So they have a bit of a black eye right now, you would say.
yeah, I mean, they probably still have money to run. I'm not saying that they ran out. They're done for. But they probably have a bit of a problem there if they're not if they don't continue to be transparent.
Right, surely. And this is where we can stand out and shine. This is a great time
Yeah,
for
exactly. It's a
us
great
to
point
make a
to
push.
compete with them.
Right, make a push to be known in Venezuela so that we can show what crypto is supposed to be like, how
Right.
it can be
And
run,
we have
and how to
sorry
do
to
it
interrupt.
correctly.
We have a couple points where we're superior to Dash. First being we're a lot more accessible for the average investor because we are cheaper. That's a reality. The second is our masternodes are also cheaper because the price of the coin, which for a lot of folks is very important because when you market this in Venezuela, I mean, if you're going to tell them, look, a node is going to be 80K, which is more or less what the Dash nodes are, I don't think a lot of people are going to invest in them. It's a pretty high price to pay, even for the U.S. I mean, it's a pretty big investment, right? But if you go and tell them, look, you can have a master node, right, for $200, $300, $400, depending on the price, right? That's a lot more accessible. I mean, I could probably give a conference, and if I say those prices, I could have 20 people right there and then. Yeah, sure, why not? I'll buy a node. I'll buy two. I'll buy three, maybe even. It's pretty good, accessible price range. That's a very important point there as well.
And it's a great
And
return on investment.
yeah, that's the other thing too. I
$20 a
mean,
month.
yeah, Dash is what 8% annually. I mean, sure, it's an established coin, but it's pretty low. Um, I'm sorry if that figure isn't exact. I
No.
haven't checked in a while. I think the doctor's checking right now.
So good things happening for us in the community as far as Venezuela is concerned. We've got some great opportunities coming up. We just need to make sure that we're flexible enough and nimble enough to be able to take advantage of those opportunities. And
Yeah, and I mean, the market here might not be, with the whole situations going on. I'm pretty sure most of you are aware. Um, but in in crises, there's always opportunity, as I like to say, and a lot of people here are interested in crypto because, I mean, most people don't have another way out financially speaking. They don't have other ways to invest or gain a passive income or any sort of financial transaction they want to do due to the inflation, among other factors, right? So, a lot of people, even people you'd be surprised to be getting in the crypto scene are. I mean, have anywhere from 20-year-olds to 40 and above.
well, I mean, even in our community, we have such a great representation of society in our community. We have representation from every area of the globe, I'd say, with every age range, every gender. Like it's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, here you could turn on the TV and you could probably find on mainstream media you can find people talking about crypto and you don't have to look that far.
Yeah.
A lot of I mean, there's daily, probably daily conversations about this here.
All right, so we are currently sitting at 1 hour 11 minutes approximately of airtime. So what? Yes, Colin, I am monitoring. So do we have more on our agenda? Is what I'm trying to get at.
No, at this point, I'm done. Can we check the balance on our
Yeah.
address?
Yeah, it'd be great.
Let me get you a link, Damon. We've got.
Community's been great so far. I mean, I'm pretty surprised by the amount of support we've gotten from everyone. So thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate the fact that LPC has agreed to match donations up to 6,000 LPC, 6 nodes in donations. So if you guys donate 6 nodes in the community, LPC will match that to 12 nodes total. So if anything above that, we just don't have an agreement. It's just not set. But we can get to 20 nodes pretty easily, and that would fund all of everything needing to be done down there for Rock's team, for John's team.
Yeah, that'd be basically a good point to these funds could do most objectives that in a month or so we could probably meet most of those objectives. I mean, we'll probably start either way, because I mean the designer that we're gonna have on staff is also working for my company, so I already told him, look, you start sketching up some stuff for the for the social media and whatnot. So with that, we're already gonna start even without the donations, but the donations would be to pay the social media team that we're gonna outsource the whole task of posting and all that sort of stuff. We might even consider, honestly, because I think we need it, for the social media team to also manage maybe the English social,
Yeah, so
Twitter and all that.
That's actually something that you and I have talked about, John, is this is going to be specifically geared towards building the community, the physical community in Venezuela and the awareness in Venezuela, but there's going to be a lot of material generated and a lot of momentum generated as far as the online communities and everything, the social media. It doesn't have to be just for you with Venezuela.
Yeah,
like
some
the
people
social
think
media
that
accounts.
we're only going to contribute to the
right.
The organization in Venezuela, but that's not true.
Right.
I mean,
so part of this is marketing.
Right. I mean, the social media team we're going to hire, they're bilingual, so I mean, they could probably post stuff in English as well. So I don't see a problem with that.
Right. So Allscript asked one quick question that I was actually considering myself. He says, what's the team's thought of allowing bag holders to donate the LPC with the view of returning the donated amount at a later date? And that goes back to my comment of it kind of being like a trust, the donations.
Right.
But if you're considering donating, but you would like your masternode back at some time, consider setting your masternode up with a multi-send and just having the rewards auto deposited right into the donation address. That way you'll be donating your rewards, but you'll still own your coins. And that way we don't have to worry about who donated what coins when and who wanted what back, you know.
I mean, I have no problem if they want to do that. I can manage it,
Right.
but it is more efficient, and it would remove the whole trust factor. Not saying I'm not I can't be trusted, but
Right. If
yeah.
that is a concern of anyone, then this would mitigate their concern.
Yeah, so you probably have to put together a short video on how you would set that up, Adam.
There's already one on my channel.
Outstanding. In doing the allocation. That's
Yep.
great.
So we've got about 10 minutes until we hit the 90-minute mark. I just want to circle back and hit all of our bullet points in one quick clip so that we might be able to get a clip up. So just to walk through it real quick, as far as the GitHub, the social media accounts, and specifically the Discord, the transition, how is that going, Damon? We're just about done with the transition there?
So the transition, that is taking off Vlad, adding myself as the owner of the repository, adding a couple of members or a few members of the council and anyone from the community who wants to be added on as a reviewer, both for LPC and for LGS. So identify what project you would like to actually be a reviewer or a contributor, and then we will add you to the repository. So
Right.
there'll be several people watching it.
Right, and as far as the Discord is concerned, there's still some. We're still figuring out what the path forward is on that. So just stay in the Discord. We'll let you know what's going on there. Don't worry about it. I've got the community in hand as far as making sure that y'all your voices are heard by the team. So that shouldn't be a major concern. We've got the new website that just rolled out. Damon, if you want to pop that up once more. And on the screen right now, this is the donation address. Community donations are going great. We've got that project started. The new website at lightpaycoin.io that John Rock Lobster, his team put together. It looks beautiful.
Yep.
We've got things rolling over there in Asia with Colin. We love seeing his face finally. And yeah, I think that covers most of the bullet points. So it's been a great week since our last webinar. We've got tons of stuff going on. I myself have a lot of things going on as far as working towards being able to further support the community. Damon's working on getting things set up for getting the coin set up for future plans. We've got the BAs running the new website, running all of our media campaigns. We had the other John from the BAs put out that great Medium article yesterday. So things are rocking. Any final words, Colin, John, or Damon?
Well, go ahead. I'll probably speak less.
Sure. What I can quickly say, guys, if you hadn't already, click the subscribe, click
down
the
there.
like button.
Actually,
And yeah, somewhere down here, and then let us know your comments. Put some comments in. We'd like to get some feedback. So I'm open.
yeah, and definitely visit our Discord and let us know all your thoughts, up or down, like open thoughts. Give us all your feedback. Colin, any closing thoughts?
No thoughts. Just see you guys in the next webinar.
Yes. Thanks for joining us, brother. John, you're up.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say a couple last things. Again, I thank the whole community for the support we've received. I think we're going to go pretty far with this. And I just want to remind everyone that LPC Venezuela is not just made for the Venezuelan market. We are going to forward the whole LPC endeavor globally. We have a lot of things planned, things that are basically being worked on right now as we speak. I mean, I'm already talking to people. I'm not waiting for donations or anything, get stuff started. We're already taking a crack at it because that's how we have to move forward. We have to be quick and efficient. We have to work. So, yeah, don't expect anything less from us. We are gonna give it as much effort as we can, and we're gonna do a pretty good job because um, it isn't just LPC Venezuela. If we have the success that we're looking for, this could be a potential model for other countries.
Right. So think of like national organizations and whatnot. You have different chapters physically located in different areas, but it's still one organization. So LPC Venezuela is still LPC. It's still the same community. It's just where the roots are planted. There is
Yeah, and
one.
it's more efficient.
Yeah.
If you have local people running things, it's a lot more efficient.
So John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, that's my name too. He has a question. Some people can barely afford to invest. What is the goal date for the fundraiser? So I want to make a quick point about the donations. If you're on a tight budget, if you're building, and even if you don't feel like donating, like, we're not going to look at you negatively in any way. Like, we're not pushing to donate. If you can't afford to donate or you don't want to afford to donate, that's fine. This is only for people that have been itching to help in whatever way they can. Here's a way you can help. So if you can't, that's fine. Be a part of the community and contribute that way. John,
yeah, I mean, we're not discriminating anyone. If you can only donate 0.1 LPC, 1,000 LPC, 100,000 LPC, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. And if you can't donate, as long as you can support us and spread the word and always held us accountable, because that's another important thing. We're always trying to be transparent, but we want people to always be on top of us. And what are you doing with this? What are you doing with that? We always want that kind of attitude.
Yeah, we are always striving to be better people. So the only way we can do that is by helping each other. And that's why we have this community.
Do any of those objectives, it's all fine by me.
All right. So we are brushing up against our time limit here. So guys, everybody on the panel and everybody in the community watching now live and watching later on, thank you so much. And I'll see you in the Discord.
All right.
All right.
Take care, folks.
Take care, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being on. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye, guys.